What is going on, everyone out there in the podcast world and listening live on Spreaker, fans of IE Sports Radio? Welcome to an all-new pre-Thanksgiving edition of the IE Wrestling Show. It is our Survivor Series edition show. Big stuff here. This is kind of surreal for me, guys. Real quick before I get started in my little spiel, just want to give a shout-out to the IE Sports Radio family. Please follow us on the X at IE Sports Radio. Follow all of our shows. The IE Sports Radio main page on X is our hub for all of our shows, so you can actually get links, updates, podcasts, live updates on all of our podcasts at that time. Check out iesportsradio.com. Throw some shekels our way if you're a fan of what we do and our merch shop, and buy a hat, whatever you feel like. And also show some love to our sponsor, planetjerky.net. Go to planetjerky.net and buy yourself some delicious 100% beef brisket jerky. No MSG, low in sodium, no sugar, high in protein, just delicious, pure, homemade 100% beef brisket jerky. It's delicious. Trust me, I have tried it myself. It is muy delicioso. planetjerky.net. It is some of the best jerky you will ever try. Planet Jerky. This jerky is on a whole other planet. Ooh, yeah. Now, I just want to say this. Larry B., the head honcho of IE Sports Radio, will know this because back in 2014, this is, damn near 10 years ago now, I first started on this network with the first lady of IE Sports Radio, Miss Felicia. Felicia Ruiz. She still follows us on the X. Shout out to Felicia if she's listening. I love you, girl. God bless. Prayers of healing and prayers of comfort to you. Just wanted to shout that out to you. But I also wanted to say I miss you on the show. One of these days I'm going to get you on here with me, and it'll be just like old times. But when we first started on this platform with IE Sports Radio, it was around Survivor Series 2014. Literally, our very first show was the recap of Survivor Series 2014. And what better way for us to start our time here on the network under the name The Gorilla Position. That's what we were known as, The Gorilla Position. It was a wrestling term. For those who are not in the know, The Gorilla Position is the location where wrestlers stand or wait for their music to hit. That's where they walk through before they hit the entrance ramp into the arena to the ring. It's that little walkway. Vince McMahon famously would sit there with his underlings with their headsets on, listening to the show, watching the show, commentating through the commentators from that position. And now that is Triple H's area of expertise at the moment. But I digress. But that was our very first show back in November of 2014, was the recap of Survivor Series 2014. So it's like almost like serendipitous in a way that today is the Survivor Series edition of my newest branch off, my continuation of the Gorilla Position in essence, which is the IE Wrestling Show with your boy, the SoCal Saint. So thank you for all of you loyal listeners who have stuck with me from that time. If you haven't, it's all good. I understand. There was times where I couldn't be here. There was times where Felicia couldn't be here and we dropped off. But I'm very passionate about professional wrestling. I'm very passionate about the show that I attempt to produce for y'all every single week. Even when I'm dead tired and, I could be, I could be doing a million other things, honestly, but this is something that I'm very passionate about, that I love doing, and so I make the time to be here for this. And even when I changed hours at my job, I made sure that I wasn't going away. I worked things out with the head honcho, Larry B., that I would still be here live, which I'm here now on Wednesday mornings. If you're listening on the West Coast, if you're listening here in Central or the East Coast, it is the afternoon. So good morning and good afternoon to all of you guys. Thank you. Shout out to a IE Sports Radio Hall of Fame fan for sure, Yu-Gi-Oh! in Japan. He's been a loyal listener. He's a big fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's always been a very loyal listener of the IE Wrestling Show, which I have been so appreciative. Thank you so much, sir, for always listening to the show, and thank you for the well wishes and Thanksgiving wishes that you sent me on X, and I sent some back to you as well. But just again, I just wanted to show you some love here on the show and wish you a very safe and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. And I hope I'm not butchering this. Domo arigato. I believe that means thank you. I hope that's what that means, because that's what I've been told. So that's for you, Yu-Gi-Oh! Shout out to you, sir. We got a lot to talk about, guys. Man, a lot of wrestling news. It seems like the wrestling news is starting to pick up because we're getting towards the end of the year. We're getting into the new year. Contracts are coming up. New television deals are being hit, are being created, are being signed. The road to WrestleMania is so close. And this coming Saturday is the final premium live event for the WWE's main roster. That is going to be Survivor Series War Games. Survivor Series War Games is coming to you live this Saturday, November 25th, from the Rosemont, what used to be known as the Rosemont Horizon. Now it is now known as the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, Illinois, where big matches have been announced. And if you watched this past Monday Night on Raw, you saw what took place between the men's War Games match. The Judgment Day has aligned themselves with the Scottish Psychopath Drew McIntyre, making their team a total of 5. Now, with the Judgment Day team of being Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, J.D. McDonough, and now Drew McIntyre. And at the end of the night, it was confirmed. All the rumors were finally confirmed. It will be Team Cody Rhodes will now consist of main event Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, and making his long awaited return to the WWE after being sidelined for nearly 2 years, it will be the Viper, the Apex Predator, the Legend Killer, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, Randy Orton. That is right, guys. Randy Orton is coming back, and he will be the 5th man on Cody Rhodes' War Games team. We will see the return of the Viper this coming Saturday at Survivor Series War Games. And Survivor Series is definitely a pay-per-view event that Randy Orton has shined at many times. He has been the sole survivor of many Survivor Series teams. He's been a part of legendary Survivor Series matches, and because of that, I'm actually going to be doing a countdown towards the end of today's show. This is, in my opinion, the top 10 best Survivor Series matches of all time. So we're going to get into that here in a little later. But before we get into the wrestling news, I just wanted to let's get this out of the way, because what a garbage pay-per-view that was this past Saturday. And if you know when I'm talking about garbage, you know I'm talking about All Elite Wrestling. I'm talking about AEW's bullshit of a pay-per-view. AEW Full Gear. What a fucking garbage that was. What garbage it was. Just absolute trash. Well, I take a sip of my water here because I'm about to unload on this. So, let's just get right into it. It came to you live from Inglewood, California at the Kia Forum. The first match on the pre-show. The pre-show had already announced only 1 match, but then all of a sudden it grew to 2 more matches. So in total it was 3 matches on the pre-show on an already long card. The first match was Eddie Kingston defending successfully his Ring of Honor World Championship against former Ring of Honor World Champion Jay Lethal. Second match on the card was Claudio Castagnoli of the Blackpool Combat Club defeating Buddy Matthews by submission. Buddy Matthews, of course, a member of the House of Black. And in a unexpected Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship match, MJF defended the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles with his interim partner, since Adam Cole is still injured with an ankle injury. Samoa Joe stepped up to the plate and teamed with MJF to successfully defeat the Guns, Austin and Colton Gunn of Bullet Club Gold by a submission. And with that, Samoa Joe made it very clear to MJF that I'm coming for that AEW World Championship because I helped you out today. You owe me one. But something happened along the way where MJF was taken out and he was stretchered out of the arena in an ambulance. The very first match on the actual pay-per-view card came down to Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland, with Ric Flair in their corner, taking on and defeating the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. During this match, Darby Allin took a very stupid bump. I don't understand how Tony Khan doesn't get these guys under fucking control when these guys are out in the ring. It doesn't make sense to do stupid shit every time you're in the ring that could potentially just take years off of your career. Darby Allin will be in a wheelchair, God forbid, if he keeps this up. I hope not, but the way he's going, he's going to end up in a wheelchair or end up having to use a walker or some sort of utensil to keep him mobile because of the stupid shit that he constantly does every time he's in the ring. He took a horrible bump that was, if you haven't seen it, it's all over the internet since Saturday. Luchasaurus picked him up for a chokeslammed Darby Allin on the ring apron. Everyone knows that the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring. And when Darby Allin hit that, he hit that full force with all of his shoulders and back and bounced right off that thing and rolled out to the ring where he couldn't even move. And you see Adam Copeland at the end of the clip, if you watch it, rush to Darby Allin's side. It was just a nasty bump for no fucking reason. It's the opening match, guys. It's the first match of the pay-per-view. Just dumb. In the next match on the card, it was Orange Cassidy with Hook in his corner, successfully defeating Jon Moxley to retain the AEW International Championship. And then for the probably fifth or fourth time in less than 2 months, we have a new AEW Women's World Champion. This title is like just jumping around like hot potato. Timeless Toni Storm is the new AEW Women's World Champion after defeating Hikaru Shida in a 4-way tag team ladder match, which saw a lot of other stupid spots that I guess they couldn't control. Ricky Starks and Big Bill successfully defeated La Facción Ingobernable, FTR, and the Kings of the Black Throne to retain their AEW World Tag Team titles. In a 3-way match for the AEW TBS Championship, Julie Hart became the youngest champion in company history by defeating Chris Statlander and Sky Blue to win her first singles championship, the AEW TBS title. Now, this right here, I definitely want to talk about this for a minute, because this is I feel like I'm about to turn into Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette loves to talk about how AEW is basically an outlaw mud show in, on a national scene. It's garbage, independent wrestling on a national level, and it's a very niche product. It really is. AEW is a very niche product. At first, I was all for AEW. I've said this many times. Like, when AEW was first launching, I was all for it. I was a bit jaded by the WWE product. I was still a wrestling fan. I was still watching on a weekly basis, but there was problems. And I was very, very vocal about that. If you listen to any of the past shows with myself and Felicia that I mentioned earlier on the formerly known as the Gorilla Position, we were always vocal, very critical of the WWE product. We praised a lot of outside products that was going on, New Japan Pro Wrestling in particular. We were really high on that. And when AEW became a thing, we were excited because there was now going to be a national alternative here in the United States to combat the WWE. And at first, it was great. It was all sunshine and roses and all that. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I will admit, I was right there with everybody drinking that Kool-Aid. But after a while, that Kool-Aid started tasting like shit, and I decided to put my cup down and walk away. And that is what I've done. But for the purposes of this show, I still report on AEW because it would be just it would just be unbiased of me. It would be biased of me not to, not unbiased, but it would be biased of me to not report on AEW. But this right here was fucking ridiculous. It was a Texas death match between Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, two very talented guys in the ring. Swerve, a former WWE NXT North American champion, he got let go, a while back and got hired by AEW. It was just, man, I hope something comes from this. I hope Swerve is in line for a potential run as world champion at some point. Because the way that this match went was just, this was some shit that is on the indies that could have been, that very well could have been plucked out of this national pay-per-view or internet, whatever, this worldwide pay-per-view, and put into a bingo hall in front of 80 people, and it would have fit right in, because it was just that. It was just a garbage, outlaw, mud dog show. It was just fucking ridiculous. Though the spot that really just made me sick to my stomach, and I hope fans of Ice Sports Radio are not squeamish when I say this. I hope you guys, if you are, you can skip a little ahead. If you're listening on the download on live, you can mute me for a few moments so you don't hear this if you haven't seen it. But at some point in the match, Swerve was busted open and bleeding from his forehead. Adam Page grabbed Swerve by the head while he was laying on the ground on the mat and let the blood of Swerve Strickland drip into his mouth. Let me repeat that. He let the blood of Swerve Strickland drop into his mouth. And from there, he stood up and spit the blood out, a la kind of like Triple H when he would spit water out, during his ring entrance. He would split the blood out up into the air. That was fucking disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. In a post-COVID world, I can't even say that because COVID is still here. It's not like COVID just went away. But in a post-pandemic world, you have a wrestler on a national product that is trying to be on the same par as the biggest company in the entire fucking world, the WWE, of course. The AEW, in their minds, and in Tony Khan's mind, believes they're on the same fucking level. You have a guy letting another man's blood drip into his fucking mouth. Absolutely fucking disgraceful. It was fucking just, ugh. It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Am I a fan of hardcore wrestling? Yes, but that was not wrestling. That was just fucking disgusting. There was nothing cool or nothing awesome about that. There was nothing that was like, inspiring. No. If your child is watching that and they come up to you and say, because of this match, I want to be a pro wrestler, go get them some help. Because that is, no. That's absolutely not. Absolutely not for that. It was just disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. Yo, shout out to Marcus Losgren in the comment section here in the chat room. Thank you, sir, for tuning in live. I appreciate it. He's a fellow member of the iSports Sports Radio family and host of Gloves Off. Thank you, sir, for tuning in. The next match on the card, let's just skip all that other stuff. Next match on the card was the tag team match between the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, defeating the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, to win their number one contendership to the AEW World Tag Team titles. And right after this match was over and after the pay-per-view was over, it was announced via X that the Young Bucks will be taking some time away from the ring. And apparently they're going to no longer be filming their YouTube show, Being the Elite. Which for me, I say good riddance. The Young Bucks, I used to be a fan of the Young Bucks, and I am no longer, just because of all the shit that happened, the way everything went down with CM Punk and the brawl out And then the shit that happened at All In, which I'm going to call it Brawl In, since it happened, it just seems on par to keep it the same. And the way that they handled his firing and the way that they gloated about it afterwards, just like a couple of immature children is what they are. Grown-ass adults who are supposed to be EVPs, which apparently they are no longer. If you check the AEW's official website, they no longer have that tag of Executive Vice President under their roster pictures on the AEW's official website. I don't know if that's just for visuals purposes or if they legitimately are no longer Executive Vice Presidents in the company, which would make a lot of sense with the way they fucking handled things with Punk. They have no business being in the office of any company because they are immature, they're highly egotistical, and are bad for business. And that's a fact. So hopefully this time away from the ring will do them some good and do the product some good because they are just because they're just awful. I mean, if you watch one Young Bucks match, you've seen them all. So AEW is not going to be at a loss not having them on television. That's for sure. And then in the main event, MJF was able to make his way back to the arena after apparently hijacking the ambulance. He drove it back to the arena himself, and he went on to defeat Switchblade Jay White and retain his AEW World Championship. And that is how the pay-per-view of AEW Full Gear ended. So, oh yeah. Alright, so that's what happened there. That is the review of AEW Full Gear. I give it about a 4 out of 10, and I'm just being generous. So let's move on to some wrestling news, guys. We have a whole lot to get through, and I still want to give y'all my top 10 list of the best Survivor Series matches of all time. But we're going to jump into some wrestling news first. So over the last few weeks, PWI, which is the magazine, the most famous wrestling magazine out there, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they had their top 500 male wrestlers of the year. They also did a female list, and now I have the top 100 tag teams of the year 2023. I do not have enough time to go all through every 100, but just like I did on past episodes, this is the top 10 of 100 tag teams of the year 2023, starting at number 10, the team of 7-Up from Stardom. Coming in at number 9 for the WWE would be Damage Control, the team of Dakota Kai and Io Sky. And I guess you could throw Bayley in there because they're kind of interchangeable, the three of them. For number 8, also another WWE pick, the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They are the current undisputed WWE Tag Team titles as champions, so that makes sense to have them on the list. They are currently 2/3 of the AEW 6-man Tag Team champions. It is the acclaimed Scissor Me Daddy Ass. They are the current Impact / TNA World Tag Team Champions, ABC. Yes, I'm excited to see them in the top 10. That's really great to hear. Also coming from TNA, one of them is the X Division champion and Chris Sabin. The other is the TNA World Champion Alex Shelley. Together they are the Motor City Machine Guns, coming in at number 5. From NJPW, Bishamon, the tag team of Bishamon. This one I agree with the top 3 here. I wish these number 3 should actually be number 2 in my opinion, but on this list, coming in at number 3, the former undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, the tag team that main evented along with the Usos. Excuse me. Along with the Usos that main evented WrestleMania Night 1 this year. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn coming in at number 3 for the WWE. Coming in at number 2, Aussie Open. That is a pick that actually spreads across New Japan and AEW. And at number 1, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR. So that is the top 10 of the top 100 tag teams for the year 2023. So I talked about this last week on the show, that Vince McMahon was considering selling some of his stock. Apparently, right after the show went on the air, he did so. So this is from 6 days ago. Vince McMahon ended up selling 8,400,000 TKO shares at the price of $76.41 a share after underwriting a discount and commission to Morgan Stanley. Comes out to net proceeds of $641 million, $641,844,000. He still holds about 20 million TKO shares, 12% of the company. He held about 16% before this sale. So Vince McMahon still, he's not completely sold off all his shares. He's still somewhat a part of the company, but it's I guess a little bit smaller at that point now. But this was announced by the WWE last week. It will be airing live Friday, December 8th on Fox, replacing SmackDown, of all things. It'll actually be replacing SmackDown. It'll be WWE's yearly Tribute to the Troops. The Tribute to the Troops to take place in Providence, Rhode Island at the Amica Mutual Pavilion. WWE, part of TKO Group Holdings, today announced the 21st annual. That's so crazy. They've done 21 of these already. I still remember when they did the very first one, when they actually flew to Iraq during the war. That was when they started doing that. They flew into a war zone and put on a show for the troops in Iraq on a yearly basis. And now they do it here, on American soil, and they do it for different. They usually do it at different bases, but let's see what it says here. Yes, it is the 21st annual Tribute to the Troops will air Friday, December 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. The event will take place in Providence, Rhode Island at the Amica Mutual Pavilion. Tickets are now on sale and available via Ticketmaster.com. Since its inception in 2003, WWE's Tribute to the Troops has honored our U.S. service members, veterans, and their families for their continued sacrifice and commitment to our country, and is widely considered one of the television's most patriotic and heartwarming shows of the year. WWE has a multi-decade commitment to the U.S. Armed Forces, which includes visiting nearly 400 military installations throughout the world, offering all U.S. military personnel free tickets to WWE live events, and has partnered with military organizations such as Hire Heroes USA. WWE currently supports the USO and tells stories of heroism and valor of our nation's bravest through the company's partnership with National Medal of Honor Museum to make an impact in the community. That's really awesome. WWE has always been a very strong partner to the U.S. Armed Forces, and they've been really committed to always putting on a yearly tribute to the troops every single year, and it's usually around Christmas time that they do this. So congrats to WWE for continuing on that tradition. I myself am not a veteran, but I have veterans in my family. My Uncle Cedric is a veteran, and my brother-in-law is currently in the armed forces at this moment. Shout out to you, Benjamin. It's so funny that I always tease that my son has an Uncle Ben. Spider-Man joke, but, hopefully, dark humor. He likes it, whatever. And I've known I've had many friends as veterans that are still with us, and some of them no longer with us. So, I just want to say shout out to all the veterans. If you're a fan of my show and you're a veteran, if you're currently enlisted, shout out to my boy, Israel Galvan. We grew up together and throughout high school and middle school, and we're still friends to this very day. And he is actually here in Texas. He's stationed over in San Antonio currently right now. So one of these days I'm going to make that drive, and we're going to meet up again soon. We still keep in touch pretty much every day. So shout out to him. And to all veterans and veterans' families, past and present and future, thank you for your sacrifice and thank you for your service. Mickie James, former Impact/TNA Women's World Champion, is going to be taking a break from Impact TNA Wrestling. She is going to be taking a hiatus, and she's actually been removed from the company's official roster page on its website. Per per PW Insider, James is taking a break from Impact and will not be participating in competitions for the time being. The report assures that both parties are amicable, emphasizing that James maintains a long-standing relationship with the TNA name, leaving the door open for a potential return at any time. Despite her absence, James has left an indelible mark on the wrestling community. Earlier this year, she was honored with the Women's Wrestling Award at the 2023 Cauliflower Alley Club, underscoring her significant contributions to the sport. Since her return to the Knockouts division in 2021, James has been a consistent presence, showcasing her prowess and experience within the wrestling realm. As her journey with Impact takes a temporary pause, fans remain hopeful for Mickie James's potential return and future contributions to the wrestling landscape. So, I know a lot of people have been speculating that it's just either that this is just a break or she's actually no longer affiliated with the company, because currently her husband, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis, is the current general manager for SmackDown. So a lot of people are thinking that it's only a matter of time before we see Mickie James show back up on WWE television alongside her husband Nick Aldis, which I wouldn't be shocked. Honestly, I would not be shocked to see Mickie James come back to the company. She has still a very strong relationship with the WWE. Hell, it was only, 2 years ago that they let her, while she was the current Impact Women's World Champion, enter into the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble that year. And they even let her use her hardcore country entrance theme from TNA. So I know she's still going to be on good terms with the WWE because of that. So I would say there's a good chance that we see Mickie James back in a WWE ring at some point. Speaking of TNA, the first episode of the new generation of TNA is scheduled for taping January 19th through the 20th of 2024 out of Osceola Heritage Park in Orlando, Florida. The stadium seats 5,500 people, which is damn good for them. That's a pretty strong start for TNA, bringing back the TNA name, Impact bringing back the TNA name. Tickets will be on sale, or are currently on sale, if you go to ImpactWrestling.com and check it out. This was made official by WWE. WWE is hosting Backlash. It'll be the pay-per-view following WrestleMania, live for the first time ever in France. Yes, Lyon descends France. May 4th, 2024, Backlash in France. This is from WWE right here. The first ever premium live event to be held in France, emanating from the LDLC Arena in Lyon descends on Saturday, May 4th, 2024. SmackDown will emanate from the same arena the night before, marking the first time SmackDown will ever broadcast from France. So, two big events coming to you live from France. That is crazy. WWE doing big things. Of course, next year in August, they're also going to be having a big event in Berlin, Germany. The Bash in Berlin. That's already been announced. So WWE doing big, big things. Speaking of WWE doing big, big things, I actually sent this article to my boy Larry B so he could talk about it on 3 and Out, the college edition. Hopefully he did so. I didn't get a chance to listen. If he hasn't, then he can piggyback off of me here, because it was just announced by WrestleVotes. It was reported that the WWE and the Big 12 Conference, which is going to be taking place here live inside AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, the home of the Dallas Cowboys, of course. They are nearing an agreement. I think it's already been finalized, that would allow the WWE to produce licensed Big 12 merchandise focused around the upcoming college football bowl season. And also, not only that the WWE's logo will be present on the football field. That is insane for me to even hear that for the first time ever on a football field, you are going to see the WWE presents Big 12. That's insane, guys. It's going to be right there on the field, the WWE logo with the college football bowl conference, the Big 12 conference. That is fucking awesome. Just insane. Just what a time. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a sports fan. What a time to be a professional wrestling fan. It seems like ever since WWE got hooked up with Endeavor Endeavor and UFC and merged into this TKO. It has definitely widened their horizon, their scope, and their influence within not only the entertainment world, but now the sports world on top of that. Speaking of some sports, this is not, I feel like, I mentioned UFC, so I'm going to go ahead and mention this. This is actually some MMA news that was broadcast by PW Guru on Facebook that PFL has now officially purchased Bellator. And in 2024, the PFL champions will battle the Bellator champions to determine who is the best. So they're going to, I guess, combine the two companies into one entity and integrate the championships into one. So that's some big MMA news there. Big moves there. Bellator now going to be usurped by the PFL. So that's pretty crazy to see. Let's see here, guys. That's a little more. All right. So this actually came out today. I saw this as I woke up this morning. That the NWA, that's right, the National Wrestling Alliance, owned by former Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan, is now officially on the CW app. If you have the CW app, you can go on there now and watch 8 episodes of NWA Power currently on there. The network added the episodes of NWA's flagship show on Tuesday. They begin with the September 5th episode and runs through October 24th. So if you want to catch up on some NWA product, download the CW app for free and check out NWA Power live now on the CW app. Some John Cena news. Yes, some John Cena news. Roku announces a celebrity talk show hosted and produced by none other than John Cena called What Drives You? The 8-episode first season is fueled by Cena's passion for cars, conversation, and entertainment. Per the press release, Cena is revving up the engine in What Drives You, a breakthrough talk show format where he'll hit the road with his celebrity friends in their favorite vehicles that hold a special meaning to them. In each episode, he'll hitch a ride with a new guest for an in-depth interview and curiosity-fueled excursion as they discuss a wide variety of both laugh-out-loud and deeply personal topics, all the while reminiscing about some of the guests' favorite memories associated with their prized ride. So if you're a fan of John Cena, a fan of good conversation, a fan of celebrities and entertainment, check out What Drives You. More on that when I get a release date for sure. So if you have the Roku channel, that's where you'll be able to check that out. So awesome, John Cena doing big things in Hollywood, continuing to do big things. Congratulations to WWE Hall of Famer, the Great Khali, on the birth of his son. Yes, it was reported by ProWrestlingWorld.com that the Great Khali has just had the birth of his son, and he put it on X. Today, I am blessed with a son because of your blessings. So congratulations to the Great Khali. Awesome to hear that. Always love to see some good news coming out of guys who are no longer in the ring. Rey Mysterio, if you have some fans, some young fans at home, some friends, some children of yours that are fans of the luchador, the most famous luchador in professional wrestling, the Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio, WWE superstar Rey Mysterio is coming to Cartoon Network Latin America with a brand new animated series, and now fans have gotten to see their first look of it in motion with the first trailer for Rey Mysterio versus La Oscuridad, which translates to Rey Mysterio versus the Darkness in English. It was first announced back in 2021 that Rey Mysterio was teaming with Cartoon Network Latin America on an exclusive new animated action series with animation produced by Mexican studio Viva Calavera. Although it was previously teased to release in 2022, a new update has been given to fans who have been waiting to see the new cartoon series in action. Rey Mysterio vs. The Darkness will be running for 10 episodes when it finally premieres, and Cartoon Network Latin America has revealed the first real trailer for the new animated series, which you can watch on YouTube if you look it up, where they also confirmed that it's going to be coming soon to Cartoon Network Latin America and Max, the streaming service Max Latin America. This trailer also shows off new series in motion and teases the kinds of big fights that Mysterio will be taking on in a whole new level that's seen that is seen with in-ring action. Yes, Rey Mysterio going to be coming to Cartoon Network Latin America and Max Latin America with his own cartoon series. And speaking of going to backtrack here to the NWA, former NWA Women's Tag Team Champion, per PW Insider, Maddie I'm going to butcher her name. Rakowski? I think I'm saying that right. Maddie Rakowski, who has also made several AEW appearances in the past, is believed to have signed a WWE NXT deal as she was at the WWE Performance Center last week. So that is awesome to see WWE hiring another awesome women's talent to grow with. She's wrestled for AEW, and she was a former NWA Women's Tag Team Champion. She'll soon be on NXT television, so congrats to her. That's very awesome. We are going to take a much-needed break here before we get into Survivor Series 2023 and my picks for the top 10 Survivor Series matches of all time. We'll be right back, guys, with you here in just a few moments. Take care.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, guys, to the IE Wrestling Show. Thank you for tuning in. If you're listening live, staying with me, I do appreciate it. Much love and appreciation to all of y'all. If you're listening on the download or on YouTube later, thanks again. Show us some love. Hit a like, subscribe, give us some love. Just show that you appreciate what I do for y'all, because I appreciate all of you listening, and I love doing this for all of you. So now let's get into the premium live event that is taking place this coming Saturday night, live from the Allstate Arena. I got a little ahead of myself there. The Allstate Arena in the Chicago suburb of Rosemont, Illinois. It is going to be WWE Survivor Series War Games. It is the 37th annual Survivor Series since the event's inception, all the way back in November of 1987. Isn't that something? That is insane, guys. And these are the matches, unless we have more matches announced beforehand coming to you this coming Friday on SmackDown, which I highly doubt there'll be more matches announced, but this is what we have for you so far. In a one-on-one match to gain some revenge on what happened to Rey Mysterio, Carlito. That's right, Carlito, Caribbean Cool. I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. Carlito will be taking up the flag for his buddy Rey Mysterio, taking on the former member of the LWO, Santos Escobar, in what should be a hell of a match. I'm looking really forward to that match. That's going to be a great match. A great match for Lucha Libre. I'm really looking forward to that match. It's going to be Carlito's first ever premium live event official singles match. since returning to the company. Not only that, it'll be his first premium live event singles match since Unforgiven 2007 when he competed one-on-one against Triple H. Isn't that insane? That's insane. The women's War Games match will be Team Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and the man, Becky Lynch, taking on Team Damage Control, Bayley, Asuka, Kairi Sane, and the WWE Women's Champion, Io Sky. Out of all the competitors in this match, Io Sky has been the only female superstar to compete in every War Games match since its reintroduction into the WWE. Back when it was on NXT, she was involved in all the women's NXT matches, and now she's been involved in this will be the second annual War Games style match at Survivor Series on the main roster. She competed in last year's War Games match, and here she is again. Fantastic, guys. I'm a big fan of Io. I'm a big fan of Kairi. This is going to be a great, great match. These guys are going to beat the living hell out of each other. I'm really glad to see Shotzi getting a shot to be in this, no pun intended, getting a shot to be in this match as well with the big dogs like Belair, Lynch, and Flair. This is going to be some good stuff, guys. And for the Women's World Championship, Mommy herself, Rhea Ripley, defends the Women's World title against Zoe Stark. That should be a very competitive match. I'm looking forward to that one as well. Also, for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, the Ring General Gunther continues his long-standing, successful title reign if he can get past The Miz. It's going to be Gunther versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series War Games. And like I stated at the beginning of the show, at the top of the hour of my show, it will be the Men's War Games match. Team Judgment Day, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and Drew McIntyre taking on Team Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, the World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins, Sami Zayn, main event Jey Uso, and the Viper, Randy Orton! That's right, Randy Orton is coming back to the WWE after a long, long absence. He had to have a back surgery. A lot of us thought that Randy Orton's career was over due to the severity of the back injury that he had and the severity of the surgery that he had to repair that injury. A lot of us were assuming that we would never see Randy Orton back in a WWE ring again. But lo and behold, Randy Orton is coming back this coming Saturday, November 25th, in Rosemont at Allstate at War Games, teaming with his former Legacy member, Cody Rhodes, to take on the Judgment Day, and I am beyond excited. This is going to be a hell of a main event. It may even hit bigger than my number one pick for the best Survivor Series matches of all time. So let's just jump right into that, guys. So I made a list. This is my personal list for the top 10 best Survivor Series matches of all time. At number 10, from the 1996 Survivor Series, for the first time ever, Bret the Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, going one-on-one with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's right, it was the first time they ever competed against one another. This is before their big epic match, probably the best match in Bret Hart's career, arguably, was WrestleMania 13, the submission match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart. But this match right here was definitely a tease of what was to come. These guys really had a fantastic match. It had a fantastic ending where Stone Cold Steve Austin broke out the $1 Million Dream, which used to be his finisher before he started using the stunner. And Bret Hart, being the technician, being the best that he is, he was able to counter that by pushing off the middle rope and basically pinning Stone Cold Steve Austin to the mat while he was still locked in the $1 Million Dream. 1, 2, 3, Bret Hart defeats Stone Cold Steve Austin at Survivor Series 1996. Awesome match. It was a fantastic match. Shout out to that particular Survivor Series event because, very famously, 1996 Survivor Series was the very first WWF appearance, yes, WWF at the time. It was the WWF appearance, the first ever, of a young, smiley, bushy-haired Rocky Maivia, who we all know would go on to become the biggest star in sports and entertainment, the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment. Of course, I'm talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who made his debut at the 1996 Survivor Series event. Also, that was the event where Psycho Sid defeated Shawn Michaels to become the WWF champion. Coming in at number 9, from the 2001 edition of Survivor Series, it will be the main event. Team WWF, which was Chris Jericho, WCW World Champion The Rock, The Undertaker, Kane, and The Big Show, taking on Team WCW ECW Alliance. Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was the WWF Champion at the time, Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam, Booker T, and Shane McMahon. It was the end-all, be-all, winner-takes-all match to end the what started out very strong, but just ended up really just being a horrible, horrible storyline after the fact. Looking back on it, there were some highlights during that Alliance versus WWF run, but this was definitely the biggest highlight of them all, which was Team WWF taking on Team Alliance. It came down to, of course, who else could it have come down to? For Team Alliance, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Team WWF was led by The Rock, and with some interference from Kurt Angle, who ended up being a mole within the Alliance, hitting Stone Cold with the WWF title. He hit Stone Cold with the title, led him right into a rock bottom. Earl Hebner's there. 1, 2, 3. The Rock is the sole survivor and the winner for Team WWF. Team Alliance is gone. They are out of there. No more WCW. No more ECW. The WWF survives. They are the sole survivor. Coming in, the next two picks on my list come from the same Survivor Series event. Coming in at number 8 from the 2002 Survivor Series, which is actually a hell of a pay-per-view. If you've never seen the 2002 Survivor Series event, I highly suggest and highly recommend it, because literally from top to bottom, the show is mwah. It is solid. A 10 out of 10. It is a fantastic, one of the better Survivor Series events ever, where you can actually sit through the entire pay-per-view and each match is great, no matter what. Are some better than the others? Sure. But every match on the card is very strong. But I had to narrow it down to 2 for this pick. And coming in at number 8, a triple threat match for the WWE Tag Team titles. Los Guerreros, Eddie and Chavo, defeating the team of Edge and Rey Mysterio and the team of Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle in a triple threat tag team match, and one of the best tag team matches probably ever in WWE history. And that's my opinion. I will stand by that. That is a hill I will die on, because I definitely believe that is one of the best tag team matches that the WWE has ever produced. It ended up coming down to Eddie Guerrero putting the lasso from El Paso on Rey Mysterio, getting the submission victory, and for the first time ever, uncle and nephew become WWE Tag Team Champions. And coming in at number 7, the main event of that very same show, the 2002 Survivor Series, the first ever Elimination Chamber match. It was a concept that was created by then Raw General Manager Eric Bischoff, where he combined the Hell in a Cell with War Games, with Royal Rumble style entrance clock, time-wise anyway. And this concept, this destructive concept was created, the Elimination Chamber, the first ever, and it was for the World Heavyweight Championship. Booker T, Chris Jericho, Rob Van Dam, Triple H, the then World Heavyweight Champion, Shawn Michaels, and Booker T. If I didn't already say Booker T's name, I don't believe I did. But it was those 6 men that started out in this match, and it came down to Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And Shawn Michaels hit that sweet chin music and became the World Heavyweight Champion for the first time ever in his career, winning his first world title since losing the WWF Championship at the time to Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14. Coming in at number 6 from the following year, 2003 Survivor Series, it was Team Bischoff versus Team Stone Cold Steve Austin. There was a stipulation for this match. If Stone Cold's team won, Stone Cold would not he would not have any restrictions on what he could or could not do as general manager of Raw. He could go on whooping ass, taking names however he wanted. But if Eric Bischoff's team won, Stone Cold Steve Austin had to relinquish his title as co-general manager of Raw and leave Raw forever. Or at least that's what was presented. And it came down to sole survivor Randy Orton taking out Shawn Michaels and winning the match for his team, Team Bischoff. Coming in at number 5, we're down to the top 5 now, 2005 Survivor Series. It will be Team SmackDown versus Team Raw. And this was a really difficult pay-per-view to get through because, I mean, this came really shortly after the untimely death of Eddie Guerrero, and where Eddie Guerrero was originally a part of Team SmackDown, and Randy Orton ended up replacing Eddie Guerrero on that team, and it actually came down to Randy Orton and Shawn Michaels once again, as Shawn Michaels was on Team Raw, and he hit that RKO and defeated Shawn Michaels, winning the match for Team SmackDown and bragging rights for all time. Team SmackDown was the victor, but Randy Orton surely could not celebrate that night because the night ended with the return of The Undertaker, taking out almost the entire SmackDown locker room in search of a beating to Randy Orton. So that was how that 2005 event ended. 2006, Team Rated RKO versus Team DX. Team DX, definitely probably one of the strongest babyface teams ever in Survivor Series history. You had the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy. You had CM Punk, a very young CM Punk at the time, who had just debuted on the ECW brand. And then, of course, you had Shawn Michaels and Triple H of D-Generation X. That was the Team DX. How could anyone beat them? And no one did, because this was one of the very few times where an entire team stayed intact throughout the entire match, not losing a single member. All 5 members were still on the ring, or still in the ring, as they eliminated every single member of Team Rated RKO. Now we're down to the top 3, guys. Coming in at number 3 in 2014. So I harken back to my very first show with the First Lady of IE Sports Radio, Felicia, which was our recap of this very event that I'm about to discuss, the 2014 Survivor Series, and this very match we discussed. Team Authority versus Team Cena, where Team Cena was the victor, with Dolph Ziggler being the sole survivor, last pinning and eliminating Seth Rollins for Team Authority. And because of this is how this match went, because it looked like Cena's team was about to lose thanks to outside interference from Brad Armstrong and referee Scott Armstrong and Triple H. But then, out of nowhere, unexpectedly, we got the debut of the Icon Sting. His very first appearance ever on WWE television. The Icon Sting came out of nowhere, hit Triple H with a Scorpion Death Drop, and pinned and rolled over Dolph Ziggler onto Seth Rollins. And that is how the match ended, with Dolph Ziggler pinning Seth Rollins, last eliminating him for Team Cena. Coming in at number 2 from the 2016 edition of Survivor Series, Team SmackDown versus Team Raw. And this was a big match. This match went on for 52 minutes and 52 seconds, probably one of the longest matches that WWE has ever produced, let alone had on WWE pay-per-view television. And what a match it was. It was a fantastic match. I know Shane got a little hurt during this match, but this had some big names in this match. You had Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, and Shane McMahon for Team SmackDown. You had Roman Reigns, you had Kevin Owens, you had Chris Jericho, you had Seth Rollins, and you had, I believe, Braun Strowman on the other team, on Team Raw. I mean, it was a very strong team on both sides, and they put on a hell of a match. But it came down to Team SmackDown's Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton being the sole survivors for this match. Again, Randy Orton doing his thing, being the sole survivor of a winning Survivor Series team. And last but not least, before I have to say goodbye to you guys today, my number 1 pick for best Survivor Series match of all time, and I think I'm going to get a lot of groans and a lot of like, oh, come on, like, whatever. If you disagree with me, that's cool. It's my opinion. This is my top 10 list. I didn't find this on the internet. I made this list myself. So my number one pick for best Survivor Series match of all time, in my opinion, was last year's men's Survivor Series War Games match, The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, the Usos, Sami Zayn, and the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns versus the Brawling Brutes, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens in the first ever Survivor Series War Games match. That match had everything. It had violence. It had drama. It had betrayal. It had all the makings of a fantastic story being told, and it pushed along the storyline with the Bloodline, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn, and it got us to where it needed to get us, which would end up being the main event of night one of WrestleMania, with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn dethroning the Usos for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. The seeds were planted there at Survivor Series War Games. What a fantastic fucking match that was. The ending, of course, was fantastic. That was definitely one of my favorite. It is my number one favorite Survivor Series match of all time. And guys, I am a little past my time. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in to this Survivor Series edition of the IE Wrestling Show. Please, if you're not already subscribed to Peacock, do yourself a favor, join up and watch Survivor Series War Games this coming Saturday. You will not be disappointed. I guarantee that. Guys, for myself, the SoCal Saint, please follow me on the X at The Wrestling Show, at IE Wrestling Show. Follow IE Sports Radio at IE Sports Radio. And please give us a like and subscribe. Take care. I will see you guys next week. Happy, safe, and fun Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. I love y'all. Peace.